What's happening, guys? Welcome back to episode 9, picking up in lower calrath. Before we get started this episode, there is going to be quite a bit to cover. I had previously already went through this area and recorded the episodes for lower calrath. Unfortunately, due to a storm surge yesterday, a few of my files were corrupted, so I was unable to upload those episodes. So what I did was enter New Game Plus, run through everything up to this point. So all bosses will be here, all items will be here. We will be able to go through the area again. In fact, you guys aren't even going to be able to tell a difference. However, with taking out the final boss here, I was able to get on up to 40 vitality, which was our stopping point, and I can't unget those levels. You know what I mean? So to offset this, I'm not going to grab any levels going through lower calrath. I'm not going to grab any levels from the boss. I'll discard everything, and I'll put us exactly where we should be so I don't have any more levels than you guys. Now, while we're talking about this, if you guys want, it does suck, if I'm being honest, I would not have done it unless I had to, but if you guys do want to go to New Game Plus, you could get a second, Pieta sword, you could get a second Hush St. Halberd, or you're going to get a lot more Umbral scourings, so it does have benefits, and it's better to do sooner rather than later. So the option's there, but like I said, it does kind of suck, because you got to redo everything we just did. Now that we do have all that out of the way, though, to get set up for lower calrath. As we stated the last episode you guys saw, at this point you guys should have a +5 weapon with your first rune socketed into that. Then aside from that, reaching this location, Dunmire will sell the Empyrean Pendant. So if you are doing the recommended build, this is going to give us more holy damage and more fire defense, and lower calrath is your first true Infernal area, so it's going to go a long, long way. It's pretty much the best in slot for Radiance build. Now, to actually get started on the zone, the first thing we're going to be doing is going right over here to the left-hand side and get you guys something really nice. They are limited, but this is really nice. So this is Heavenly Vial. If you've ever played Dark Souls, think of this as your Divine Blessing. So this will cleanse all stats effects and offer you a full heal. Now, I will say that Lords of the Fallen actually did it better, because even in addition to all that, it will fully refill your mana as well. Now, the other games didn't do that, so I thought that was really cool. Really, really cool. But like I said, they're really limited, better to save for like late game areas, maybe, really tough late game boss, something like that. Now moving forward from this point, we're going to have your map right there. And there's pretty much your next mini boss right around this corner, so don't go up too far, but right over here is something we could use. So this is your Smite Saw. It's really, really good. Even if you're doing an Inferno build, I highly recommend putting those on for this fight, as it will make things much easier. So your next fight is going to be the Infernal Enchantress. Like all mini bosses, she's just going to become a basic enemy, but you will fight her as a boss first. Now there's a few things going on here. As far as her moveset, she's going to throw fireballs. She has Conflagration, where she's going to do that stream of fire from her hand. Just walk to the side of this, dodge the fireballs. She can summon up about 5 stationary orbs that will explode, and she'll summon those all around you. So just try to roll through them, get away, let that play out, then get back to, the fight in general. Then she has a teleportation, which is probably the biggest word, because when she teleports, she does this huge eruption, and it'll hit you from like 10 foot away, so make sure you keep your distance. Now, going into this fight, you can't even fight her until you get rid of a storm. I guess you'd call it a firestorm. There's literally a fireball surrounding her. So to get rid of this, you're going to have to get rid of 4 parasites. One's going to be on this dock. One's going to be behind the boxes over there. One's in front of her to the right, kind of off on the side. Then one's literally right behind her next to a tree. So we're going to go to the boxes, let her spell play out, then we'll take this one, then we're going to get the one on the right, then the one behind her. Now, she is super weak to holy, so as soon as we get this cleared out, we're really just going to soul flare and beat her down. It's not going to be that bad. So running on in, like I said, we want to get this one, and just try to backblast. Now, she always goes to the orbs next, so that's why I said we're going to let this kind of play out before we go for our next parasite, which is right here. Alright, now the next one, I've tried to get like through the dock there, but you've got to get closer. She could possibly hit you with spells here, so be careful. We're going to dodge through. Now from here, I like to let her just wait for her next move. That way we have the time to get a soul play without taking any damage. As you see, you really fucked her up on that one. There's her teleport. And there you go. And that's it, Infernal Enchantress. So she's going to drop a quest item for much later in the game, the Infernal Enchantress Flesh. So don't worry about that just yet. It is important that we have it. And then she could drop a few pieces of her set. We'll have to farm the rest later when she's a basic enemy. Now, don't plant a seedling here. Like most of the time, that will be a waste. Instead, what we're going to want to do is go behind her into this right corner. Now, there's going to be a guy like right here that pops up. So I guess we can just take him real quick. Yeah, there we go. He's no longer an issue. Then you're going to get the Magma Ring. So the Magma Ring can help you with this area. It's going to boost your resistances to Ignite. Ignite is a status that when it builds up, it causes like an explosion to come off your body. It's going to rip through your health. It's not good. Pretty much all the Rogar here are using it. In fact, they've always had fire damage on their sword, but now the sword's like buffed up with Ignite, and they're also going to have increased movesets too. But most of the enemies here are actually going to be using Ignite, so that ring can help. So like I said, just because you're familiar with the area, with an enemy, don't think you know it, because they might, throw you a curveball. And once we take those two out, going to the left, right behind this little panel, well, we broke it, the wooden panel, Pirate Cultist Flail, if you guys are interested in that for Inferno, whatever he drops. Ooh, Purifying Bomb, I'll take it. And pick that up. Alright, so going up the main road, right before the curve, what we're going to want to do is branch off to the right-hand side. We can break through here and get you a really nice shortcut. That's why I told you don't plant a seedling. It's a waste, because this is a much better location anyways. And it doesn't cost anything. Thank you. Alright guys, so taking this around, one guy right here to your right. Then we can drop the ladder. Now for you guys, whatever levels you've picked up that you already had, and then with the Infernal enchantress, go ahead and grab your levels. You're going to want to. Like I said, I got about 8 levels going through. I actually got dead on 8 levels going through this whole area and the boss. So at this point, if you guys have been following along with the recommended build, you guys should have health done for the entire game. You don't need to do anything more in health. You got plenty. But this area, by the time you get to the end, you should be dead on 40 or really close, because that's what is what we did was 20 health, stamina. Then we got 25 radiance for PFS sword. Then we've been in health ever since. So you guys might already have it, but you'll definitely have that by the end of this area. Then moving forward, we'll be getting back into our damage and get that in a really nice spot. Maybe start working a second stat if you guys find other weapons you like. So pretty good. It does come quick in this game. So going back up the main road at this point, as soon as you see a dog on your right, you're going to want to just keep following this way. So take him out, then use your lamp. You will see stuff in Umbral. We don't want to go just yet. It's first we want to clear out Axiom. So as you notice, it kind of lets you come behind these guys. They might still get you a bit, but maybe not, maybe not. That's what I love about doing it that way. It just makes it really simple. We took no damage. So from here we can enter Umbral. Now there's 2 gremlins that are going to fly out of fucking nowhere as soon as you pop this. So what I like to do is kind of run down, trigger them, back up. They'll come right down the corner, and hopefully we can just, stay on them. Looks like one kind of disappeared. Oh, he's back. Yeah, I told you, that's why they're so annoying, dude. They're so steady. So that is your Grievous ring. It's actually a really good ring. Anytime you get a Grievous strike, a critical blow, not only will you get a little bit of health back, but you're also going to get a Soul Flake charge, which is pretty big, pretty big. And we're going to take care of him before we leave Umbral, just because I hate him. Thank you. And we're going to leave right here. Alright, so we're almost up to a really, really good place to plant a seedling. However, on the way, there's going to be one proselyte right here. And like I said, they're always tough, because when you get stronger, so do they. So they're always, going to be an issue. However, with one soul flame, we can pretty much, as you see, just take him right out. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Now, going around right through this corner here, the seedling's going to be here. Go ahead and get our rest on. I mean, I don't really need to. It's just a good habit to have. Now, as you move forward from this point, there's going to be a fork in the road. If you go to the left and Umbral over here, that's your main area. However, over on the right is going to be an absolute blessing for Umbral builds. This is where we get you guys what I consider to be the best Umbral weapon. And we're going to break this down and break down Umbral builds and how you should put them together. Like I said, even though we recommend a build, I'm going to cover every build and what's best for everybody. That way you guys have freedom to do whatever the hell you want. But this up here is one of the best, one of the best weapons for Umbral. Really good. It builds up a shit ton of wither. It's almost all wither damage, scaling from Raids to Inferno, and then it also has 150 frostbite. And you're just smacking the enemy once and withering their whole health bar. Frostbite's going off and just popping everything else. Like, it's so strong. Now, do make sure everyone in Axiom's dead before we go into Umbral. We do need to get rid of that fire. There's going to be 2 Umbral obstacles. However, there's this dude and a Reaper. There's Mr. Reaper. bitch. Come on. Make me waste my shit. Thank you. That parry there is so inconsistent, but when it works fucking great. You gotta love it. Alright, so if you go back down to the stairs, your first obstacle will be right here. If we go back up top, right behind this vine over here, you got a sneaky little obstacle right here. Now, this area can be kind of fucked up. There's typically like 3 moths, there's a few gremlins, and a lot of the smaller putrid corpses. So I like to go for the moths first, as you know, we don't want to fight them and, we don't want to fight them and gremlins. Gremlins are super annoying, as you guys have already seen. So this lady here is tricky. A lot of times she won't animate. What will happen is you'll walk up and be like, okay, she's not coming to life, we're good. You walk over here, and she comes to life, where you have to fight 2 more over here. So you're going to be fighting like 3 of them, if they all animate. Sometimes they don't. I don't know what it depends on. Sometimes they come to life, sometimes they don't. That's just how it is. Like this one should come to life too, but if you notice, she isn't. So just be prepared. If they all spawn, you're going to be fighting 3 moths. And your weapon's right there in that belly, but first, let's see if we just pop him right off the edge there. Sometimes he'll live, most of the time he'll just, fall to his death. And there's another one, I just never know where the fuck he is. He kind of comes out of nowhere. Oh, there he is. I guess he just blends in really well. Alright. So with that, you can pop the belly and you get Rosamund's sword. So 13, 13 strength, agility, 16, 16 radiance, Inferno. So you could just get the requirements and bring physical stats up for a bunch of physical damage and some wither. I think it's best for Umbral, getting that 13, 13 for your physical, and then bringing Radiance Inferno to like 40, 40 in game, which is plenty. 50, 50 would be better, but at least 40, 40 you'll get. And you're going to get hundreds of wither damage. Like the scaling is going to be like 300, 400. Wow, just wither. Plus you're going to get that physical, and on top of that you get the 150 to frostbite. So I'll put it this way, wither Umbral builds, it has 2 real builds. There's a bunch of poison spells for Umbral, there's a bunch of frostbite spells for Umbral, then there's just like Umbral magic spells. So if you're trying to put together Umbral build, you need to decide what theme to go with, in my opinion. Either go poison or go frostbite. So if you want to go poison, in the next area after this, the mines, you can farm up what's called the fungus encrusted pickaxe. You want to farm up 2 of them. It cannot be found, you have to farm. But they do 150 poison buildup. Plus, they're all wither. The 15 radiance Inferno, and as much as you scale it up, you're going to get a shit ton of wither. Now, since poison ticks on your health slowly, it automatically takes all wither away, and that's why it's so strong. All the wither you built up, bop, just pops right off with the poison damage. So it's very exceptional. Now, frostbite, on the other hand, but the other thing with the pickaxes, they don't do much posture damage because they're smaller weapons, right? Well, Rosamund's sword you just picked up is a great sword, so it has a lot of posture damage, and it's going to get a shit ton of wither, like I already said, from your scaling from Radiance Inferno. But on top of that, it also has 150 to frostbite. So big beefy hits in the 4th one, that backswing, that will knock those moths right out of their storm attack. Like, it knocks enemies out of their elite attack, so it's really dope. And then it's got a thrust for those tight spaces, so it's really nice. A special attack, up swipe, down swipe. It's just really potent weapon. But frostbite's almost like how Bloodlost is in Elden Ring, where it just pops off half their health. Like it's wild, dude. It's wild. Absolutely love it. So it's pretty much my favorite weapon in the game. So I'm not saying it's the best weapon, it's my favorite weapon. So if I'm doing Umbral, that's what I'm going with. Now remember, you can buy a respec if you went like super high Radiance Inferno and you don't have that 13, 13 you need. Go respec, I'm telling you. There's maybe one weapon technically better, but I don't think the pickaxes are better in Rosamund, in my personal opinion. They might do a little bit more damage, but I don't think they're better, because they're not going to stagger the same. Plus, it's a bitch to farm them. So either way, guys, now that we do have that covered, we're going to be going in Umbral. This next part can be rather tedious, if I'm being honest. So as soon as you go over here, you're going to drop down. There's going to be multiple gremlins, and they try to trap you in this corner and stagger you. So drop down. Yeah, she's already getting off. I think there's 3 altogether. There's 2, and then, they'll come in. And you see what I'm saying? Like, they just fucking stay on you. They're super fucking annoying. Super fucking annoying. And it's probably going to be best just to siphon this. If those guys are there, sometimes they're not. Most of the time they kind of hang back, but if they're there, that's what I would do. Alright, so up ahead, your Infernal Enchantress is already a regular enemy, and she's going to be right here. Now that special attack with the 2.5 update, now we're getting fucking smite every time we use that attack, so it's just a nice attack to lead in with. Every time. Boom, that's smite. Every time. So I really like that. Sucks that it wasn't in the game before. We didn't really have weapon arts like that unless you did the hidden quest. Like for New Game Plus. Just to get weapon art. So either way, if you're doing agility right over here, bow with the convert, this bow actually does everything, which is wild. So if you look at this, 80 blood loss, 80 burn, 80 poison, physical fire, holy wither. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal. It's crazy. It's crazy. Now, we are going to enter Umbral to take out a few guys, but first, what we want to do is go on down. Take him, go to the right. If you break through and drop, you can get your Cinder arrows. So, if you're missing that all ammo achievement, it's probably because of sneaky ass items like that, for sure. There's a few. There's a few. That's one. Alright, now we can go ahead and enter Umbral. And you will have to up here, like over there to the corner, but I like to take out a Reaper until we get his full set and we'll fight these guys every time. And even after, like I said, they do drop really good consumables that you're gonna want. Oh, I thought you were dead, frick. Yeah, told you, it's very inconsistent. You heard the parry go off. I don't know why. You know, the last time we did it, we just put him down with a critical. This time we get caught. That's what I said, it's super fucking inconsistent. So there's a little trick to show you. So typically, what's going to happen is, like, you're out of reach. So you have to pull this platform to make this go out more so you can reach it. And the game wants you to go all the way down, pull this, and run back up. And this happens a lot in areas. And sometimes it's really inconvenient. Like, I think it's our next area, like, we get a situation like this where we have to run all the way to the ground level and then back up when all you have to do is edge yourself out. You see that? We can pull it right where we're on top. Now, this one isn't so bad, but some of them are. You know, some of them really are, and this is a much, much easier way to handle it. And we'll run on out, or exit Umbral. I think I'm so used to telling you guys to enter all the time. Thank you. Now you're almost up to your next vestige, but before we get there, yeah, we have these little doodads and some upgrades right here. I think there's one guy we missed. I feel like we missed somebody. As you follow it around, you're going to notice that you can go in here. This is called the Ale House. So this is pretty much your halfway point for Lower calrath. That's why I told you guys at the start. I said I've already recorded the episodes for Lower calrath because there's two. So there's going to be part 1, part 2. So this episode's the first half. Next episode will be the back half. And then that will catch us back up. So we can go and pick up this because we are right here. Once again, I'm not worried about my souls because I've already got all my levels for Lower calrath that, you know, I got to lose them anyway. So if someone kills me, it'd just be doing me a favor. Now also, since I'm never going to go back over to this corner again, I actually picked up Saintly Quintessence when I was going through New Game Plus 0 to get back. Because like I said, I wanted to pick up everything so I knew that we weren't missing any items for the, you know, the real playthrough we're doing, especially when it came to quests. So what I want to do is drop the Saintly Quintessence because if you hit discard, you'll drop them all. Then we lose the ones we got. So I have to drop them, but the item will always be sitting there. And I don't want to drop them somewhere where I end up picking them up later by accident. So I'm going to drop 3 of these because we had 2. But if you notice, they're just going to be sitting here on the ground. Even if I rest, they'll be sitting. So I don't want to accidentally pick them up. I know I'm never coming back here again. So we'll drop them there. So now everything is even. I might have like duplicate armor sets or weapons I'll never use. But that's it, you know. Eventually I'll sell that shit and get rid of that too. So from this point, there's only one area left of the first half of Lower calrath. And that's right down here. As soon as you go down, you have 2 fire dogs and a Rogar with a parasite. He does patrol. I don't even know where he's at. It should be around. Yeah, that's his fire. It'll typically get you by the time you get that parasite. Sometimes it will kind of interrupt him though, which is nice. Now once you got him out the way, we're going to go down the bridge over here to the left of the Wayfarer. Hey buddy, that's not nice. You do need to exhaust the Wayfarer's dialogue here. I don't think he's going to move on. I haven't ever done the quest the wrong way, but I'm pretty sure he will not move on, and you know he's going to mess up that quest.
But it's your never turn to someone.
All right, now we're actually going to go down back in here, but first there's like a few guys up here, I think. just to kind of make sure that area is fully cleared out. We'll take them out, and that wraps you back around up to the top. So right down here, we're going to get into Pieta's quest, and this stigma actually relates not only to Pieta's quest line, but also to the hidden ending of the game. So let's pull that stigma. While that plays out, instead of going this way, go to the left. You have him, usually two. You have him. They blend in so well. The main reason we're going here is for upgrade match. It's going to be right here.
When I used to get scared, I'd hold it very, very tightly. And that's when it would reveal its magic.
Now, there will be a mimic down here once we start going through. I'm going to try to run a jump, but most of the time you end up missing. It's really late. Yeah, it's really late. So the mimic is right here. This is typically where the mimic will be. It's not guaranteed, but it does, end up here a lot. If it's not here, it's going to be behind the crates over there in that little nook. So there we go. We got the Odd Stone. We got the Umbral Scouring. The Odd Stone's a quest item for Pieta. We'll get into that the start of next episode. There's actually Drewston and Pieta's quest need to be progressed. We'll open up with that, and then we'll move forward and knock out Calrath. All right, let's go ahead and exit. Before we close out, all we have is like this little lower area here. It's really just to get a shortcut, but there's a few items we're going to want. So before you go down the main stairs, make sure you stay to the far left here. As you could already see it. There's actually a room. Right there, that's your orcs. You got demon archers, just rush them down. Boom. You got him. Now there's a little side section. That's the last little area we're going to do, leading up there. So before we get to that, and going down, get our items, pop your shortcut, and just kind of clear these guys out. So he's usually on that left side that we're about to do, so he just kind of came down early. And when you pop this shortcut, if the guys are right here, kill them, because they will follow you. For sure. They will, for sure, follow you. Now the other Rogar typically doesn't, it just depends on his patrol patterns. Damn, both Rogars followed us, so those were both the ones from that far side. I think, because there's two there. Yeah, it seems like he doesn't notice us, so I'm not gonna fuck with him. Actually, going back out, now that this is all done, what we're gonna do is just start working our way back up, and over here on the left. Like I said, there's typically two Rogar here, but I'm pretty sure both followed us down, which is weird. It never usually happens, so if it does, just, be mindful. Then you have your four. It doesn't matter if we go in Umbral here, guys. If you do, there's a Wither Witch right here. You see her? There's going to be a Reaper up top, which we might go ahead and just fight him intentionally. And the very last thing over here is some upgrades, and that's really it. So with that, your first half of Lower Calrath is done. Now, Lower Calrath actually has some dope weapons and shields, and, a lot of good stuff for quality, strength. Infernal, for sure. You guys are going to get what I consider to be like top 2 best Infernal weapons in the game, but it's all in the back half, unfortunately. They do make you work for it. I did say we're going to hit Umbral real quick, so let's do that. Maybe we'll get lucky and get the rest of the Reaper set. That's what I'm aiming for. That's why I go to Umbral sometimes when we don't have to. For one, they can drop seeds, which is really nice, but we still need their set for our trophy. There we go, fucking farm everybody. Dreadful trophy of all. Well, multiple, because that attaches to all armor, all weapons, and all spells. But still, yeah, dreadful trophies. That's just, it's not bad. This is I guess like a hidden area we'll get later. There's actually a key we need in the mines. After you do the mines, you have to come back way later, and then it leads you to there, and it really just connects the world. It's actually just an optional area just to get you a Saintly Quintessence, is what it comes down to. And with that, we are wrapped up. So now we're just going to be working our way back on over to the ale house. But it's going to hurt to throw all these souls away, guys. I ain't going to lie to you. Because, like I said, once we knocked out Lower Calrath, we did naturally get to that 40. Well, with the boss, too, of course. We got to that 40 health, and we got all that wrapped up. But I had to go back to New Game Plus to get to where we were, so you guys didn't miss any content. But I still earned all those souls. You know what I mean? So I want to use them, but at this point, it would put me higher level than you guys. So you just, we can't do it. Unfortunately, can't do it. But either way, guys, we are going to go ahead and wrap up here. We got rid of our extra saintly quintessence. I can't get rid of my souls until the next episode after the boss, but then that will pretty much put us back on track and give us that clean slate. But with that, we will catch y'all back here next episode to wrap up with Lower Calrath and get you guys your next boss remembrance.